What's up, y'all? I'm alive. I hope you are too. I hope you had a great Easter weekend. I was thinking today, as soon as I started putting that energy out of cold calling and, just like trying to slow down, but not, like try and jump into Uber as quick, try and jump into a new car and, just do the grinding mode and try and just grind it out. I did those cold calls, and I think it got me just in the right mindset, just to kind of trust, God or whatever it is you want to fill in the blank, and just kind of accept things a little bit more as they come. Because what I was doing is I was looking for this Uber thing kind of as a means to an end. I wasn't planning for the future. So I was forced to, call and, do cold calls and things like that, which I'm still doing. I didn't get much from that, but as soon as I started doing that, shortly after, my phone started ringing for projects. I got a project that I shot on Thursday last week, and I got the project on Monday. It was just like super quick turnaround. But anyways, there's this gentleman that I really look up to. He found out about the project, and he called me and kind of chewed me out, and I was in a good place mentally, I think, for the most part. But as soon as that happened, I just kind of took a deep dive, and it was more of like it was a call about hey, don't mess this up, don't overcommit. And I'm at a place kind of where, I have to take risk to make some money. Obviously not risk that I know how to use a camera and stuff like that, but I have to take, risk that are within my, within my field, to be able to get out of this hole that I'm in. And, I could have gone about it a lot differently. Looking back now on this project, I could have looped them in. I could have done, all sorts of stuff. But I did a 12-mile run on Friday. I got done with work around 2. So I did just a 12-mile run. I was like, screw it. I need to try and figure some stuff out. And about 3 miles into my run, I'm thinking to myself, man, let's keep walking. If I want to be successful, right? If I want to be the producer that is bringing work to Houston, I can't wait for people to hand me projects. I have to get them. And I thought to myself, man, I'm going to offend people. I'm not always going to do what's right. I'm always going to, there's going to be people that are going to complain or criticize. And I think about success, right? There's a lot of people, the noise gets louder and the haters get louder as you start to achieve things. Everyone's got an opinion. I was going to say something, which I can't control any of that. But the thing that I can control, though, is how I respond to that. I think, I'm in a low place, right? I lost a marriage of 13 years. My best friend has turned into someone that is, I'm having a difficult time communicating with. And really the only thing we're communicating about is the children. I'm losing that. I'm losing the fact that my kids aren't home at night, and I miss them so much. I have no control over that, right? They're with their mom. If she started to see someone, I have no control over that, right? That's just the reality I live in. And then I lost a vehicle that I had for almost 5 years, after another vehicle being totaled, and then this one being totaled, and then jumping into a dream car, Tesla Model 3, and that being totaled. And, all these accidents weren't my fault. I'm trying to take extreme ownership over everything, but these people were not insured, and so I'm in this really low place, right? And I'm behind on bills, child support, and mortgage. Not my mortgage, just a loan that I took out so I can catch up my mortgage because it was in deferment. And then I found out, I did my profit and loss statement for last year, and it says I made 11 grand. I'm fortunate that I made that much, but man, I think, overall I probably made 30 to 40. So I had made like less than half of what I had made the year prior. And I think, a lot of that was kind of where my struggle was coming from. My depression, my source of identity, and then it just got all kind of taken away from me. And so I'm in this low place, and I hear this criticism, and it spirals me. And so I'm on this run, and I asked ChatGPT, how can I get to a place where I'm not affected by the noise or the criticism or the feedback? It doesn't send me for a loop. And it had some great tips. I've more or less been using ChatGPT as a therapist, honestly, lately, just because I have so much shit going on, and people have their own lives, and they can't always be there, which is totally fine. And I don't have the money, $125 to pay a therapist every time I want to talk or something like that. So this is where I'm at. So chat, basically, she said, criticism is easier to receive when it's invited and not avoided. And it started saying like, basically, to try and hear. A lot of times people are really shitty communicators, or they're coming from a different place, or they have different goals or priorities, and they're trying to say, you basically want to take it down and say, like, who's saying this? How are they saying this? And then it gave me some other advice of like, future me, how would future me be thankful for receiving this? What part of this feedback would future me be thankful for? So it was also saying like, what part of me is reacting to this? Is it fear of failure? Is it fear of being pursued or perceived as good or right? Or is it a fear of being misunderstood? And I think I really don't care. I mean, I do care about failure and all this stuff like that, but I think I'm such a resilient person, and I failed a lot in life. Maybe I've learned to manage that. And I really don't care whether someone thinks I'm good or right. I've done a lot of things that are really good in my life that have actually put my life in danger. And I don't think many people can say that. Right. And I do things that are questionable all the time, and I could care less what people think. But I think my problem is that, dealing with abandonment and stuff growing up, I think my fear is being misunderstood. I think at my core desire, I want to be seen, right? I want to be felt, and I want to feel found. Anyways, that's what's true for me. And at its core, I think I was perceived as like having a malicious intent to having this project, and in reality, like, that's not at all where I'm coming from. And I think that's kind of what hurt me the most, is someone didn't understand where I was coming from. And I need to realize that, I mean, we're one of one, right? You're one of one. No one's ever going to understand you fully or completely. ChatGPT is going to give you the average of great advice, right? Of good advice that you need to hear. But in reality, no one's going to understand the decisions you make and why you make them. I think I'm getting to a point in my life where, like, yes, I do need to think of things critically and logically, but I need to trust my gut, and I need to trust my heart. And maybe that's what you need to do. Maybe you need to trust your gut and your heart and know that its core, you're doing what you need to do to take care of yourself. You're doing what you need to do, and you're doing what you think is best, right? I think if we, try not to beat ourselves up in the future, I think we'll be all right. We just need to trust, Hardly ever do we agree with the decisions we made in the past. But you need to trust the process that you're on. It's not the same as somebody else's process. And I think that's important. And it's just kind of taught me to be a little bit more grateful and present. And one of the guys on a previous comment of the car accident, he let me know that, I should be grateful that I'm alive, which I am. But he said he had a first car accident ever. Someone hit him from behind and he was paralyzed from the waist down. And it just, the fact that this man hasn't given up is amazing. Or this person. And it goes to show, like, man, I got to walk away from those things, right? I get to still see my kids. There are other relationships. It could be worse. Like, there are other relationships that can completely isolate, the kids from the children. I'm sorry, the kids from the children, the father from the children. And at its core, I need to trust the process that I'm in and practice gratitude while still moving forward. I hope that means something to you today. If anything, I know that I'll be able to come back and look at this and see where I was and where I came from, and the things that I thought were difficult at the time. In retrospect, take care of yourself. I love you. Love yourself. Someone loves you. You're needed in this world. You're useful. Okay, people need your help. You need what you bring to the table. Peace.